and Dad was absolutely in love.
They were both very happy for that day.
What's this for?
Your anniversary. Our dad used to always say, whenever I die, I'm going with your mom. We're going together. We never thought anything of it until it happened.
Listen, I need to hear now. What shots fired?
I felt like my heart had dropped. I knew that something was wrong. He just went on a rampage.
At that point in time, we didn't know that he had a target.
This stuff doesn't happen to our family. You see it on TV, it never happens.
Hurts. Let me tell you, it hurts. It sucks. Everything that was said, it was all a setup.
Michael had just recently been bonded out and was supposed to be going to trial. It was just a bad feeling all the way around. Kay was not a confrontational person, but there's so much problems. You just don't want it around your family, you know?
Letting y'all know, look, this is real. See? That's a gun. That's the real deal. This is more intense than what I thought it was going to be, to say the least.
There was, I don't know, just a feeling of, okay, you know, just be aware. And I don't even know how many times I called her. I couldn't get her to answer the phone.
If you want to know what's up next, stay tuned to your local news.
It's Valentine's Day, 1995, in Wellston, Oklahoma. Ron and Kay Wilkson are getting married for the second time, having been divorced for just 3 months.
My parents had split up before and got back together, so in 1995, they decided to remarry one another.
Ron, Kay, would you take the ring and place it on Ron's finger and speak up with this ring? I pledge my life and love to you, in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
They just grew apart and they decided to go their separate ways and then realized that they didn't want to do it apart.
We're now husband and wife.
This was the last time they split up and they decided they're going to remarry one another on a different wedding date than their first one and start their lives over again.
The fruit of the Lord.
Kay and Ron's 4 children stand up front with the happy couple.
Congratulations. You're so married.
Their 2 sons, 14-year-old Donnie and 12-year-old Connor. And their 2 daughters, 13-year-old Cassie and 9-year-old Evelyn.
So in this one, Mom, she never liked being in the spotlight, and you can see she's kind of embarrassed being up there. Then there's Dad with his smirky smile. They just look like kids, swinging their arms and happy and smiling at each other. It's hard to believe that now that family of 6 is a huge family. Grandkids, great-grandkids, just so many more.
Kay Smothers was born May 9th, 1962, in Kingsburg, California. In 1967, Kay's parents moved her and her sister Janet to Oklahoma. The family opens a successful diner in Wellston, 30 miles outside Oklahoma City.
Mom and Dad were born in Oklahoma, and our grandparents on my dad's side lived there in Chandler. They moved back to Oklahoma for a better life.
Kay is just 16 when she meets Ronnie in 1978.
Ronnie worked at the restaurant that my mom worked at, and my mom introduced them. And they started dating. They were just good together.
1 year later, Ronnie and Kay get married, while both still teenagers. Their 4 children arrive in the space of just 5 years, starting with the birth of Donnie in 1981.
Kay and Ronnie was a broke married couple to start with. They were young parents, scared to death, but pretty darn good parents.
They could not stand being away from one another, but they couldn't stand being with each other. They split up numerous times and found their way back to each other every time.
And 16 years after their first wedding, the family celebrates Ron and Kay for a second time.
It's beautiful. The reception took place at my parents' house. It was just a simple little cheap wedding. All the family was at home. We had a little cake that the family made for our parents.
How do you have the cake? Does anybody know?
And it was just everybody sitting around laughing, joking.
No, because they paid it smeared.
A little bit. Don't smear them. I'll give you $1.
My dad's brother-in-law, he was trying to get my mom and dad to smear cake in each other's face. And they agreed they wouldn't do it. And that's pretty much how it started. We started smearing cake in each other's face.
Ronnie spent the majority of the day with who's going to clean up this mess.
That was his number one thing, is just make sure his house was clean.
It was a fun day. We had a good day that day. And the mess got cleaned up. So.
Not long after Ron and Kay's second wedding, Kay's cousin Teresa relocates from California to Oklahoma.
Teresa and her daughter Mariah moved in with my parents. Mom was happy about it. We would be around them at Mom and Dad's house, but it was never a, hey, let's go hang out.
Teresa's son, Michael Vance, plans to follow his mom and sister to Oklahoma.
We was told that Michael was in and out of Dewey Hall a lot. Michael's mom said that she was moving here because Michael was getting ready to get out of lockup and she didn't want to be in California when he did. She moved out here with his sister to get her away from the area out there.
Fast forward 3 years to February 1999. The family gathers at University Hospital in Oklahoma City to welcome the new generation of Wilksons.
The first grandchild of the family was Angel, the daughter of my older brother Donald and his wife at the time. And it was just it was just amazing having that next step of the family. The reason why her face is just confused like that, Angel was a very big baby and she was stressful coming into this world. And it kind of gave Mom and Dad a little bit of a scare. But Mom was very proud to be a grandma. My dad was so happy that he was finally a grandpa. He went out, he was buying stickers, buying t-shirts, anything that had grandpa on it.
Santa orange juice. Come here.
Their lives revolved around their grandkids. Their grandkids did absolutely no wrong.
Okay, Mama, he's through talking. He's through talking, Mama.
They was spoiled rotten. My dad, he played a big role in both of my kids' lives.
By Christmas 2000, doting grandparents Ron and Kay have 3 grandchildren. It's happy chaos.
That smells good.
In Christmas of 2000, that was the year my son was born, the first grandson of the family. My dad finally had I finally have a fishing buddy. Christmas was very hectic. It was mainly about buying for the grandkids.
All right. That is neat.
The Christmases growing up with our kids was really nice because we got to watch all of our kids interacting and giggling and watching our mom and dad sit in the background be very proud grandparents.
Hey, get Angel a present.
We was all innocent. This was times that the roughest time was what we was gonna have for dinner that night. This is times before we even realized the world's not safe anymore. And the nightmares that was gonna happen. wish you could go back in time.
Hey, Blake. Hey, boy.
Memorial Day 2001. Ron and Kay vacation at nearby Chandler Lake with their growing family of 4 kids and 6 grandchildren.
Going to Chandler Lake was our parents' #1 vacation. Even though it was just a town and a half over, they would load up their camper, load up so much food, and we would go to the lake. It was just camping and spending that time together. Having fun, riding scooters around the lake, swimming anytime we wanted to, just being there, making our memories. Growing up, we didn't have a lot of money to go do things. Our dad used to say, we may not be rich, but we could still have fun. You didn't have to have money to make memories.
Valentine's Day 2002. It's Ron and Kay's 7th wedding anniversary. Or 20th, if you count the years of the first marriage.
What's this for?
Your anniversary?
But Ron's forgotten.
Damn it, I didn't get you nothing.
Oh my God, that's so terrible. He didn't always remember their anniversaries. Like he would get halfway through the day and realize that it's Valentine's Day and then just stop everything.
I hope it ain't 20, 40, just like what we had. I hope you
Dad said something about maybe we should have better years than what we've been having. He's still reading his card. The funny and ironic thing about it is my dad couldn't read, so he's just pretending to read his card. They couldn't live without each other. They used to always joke about when one of them passed away, the other one was going to be left with all of us kids.
The joke masks a painful reality. Away from the camera, Ron is gravely sick.
Our dad started going downhill with his health. Started having more heart problems, you name it. One thing after another. He had diabetes, he had high cholesterol, high blood pressure. He had multiple stents in his heart. And the doctors was telling him that his kidneys was trying to shut down on him. His health just, it slowed him down from doing everything.
Ron's failing health focuses his thoughts on what he wants to leave behind for his family. In early 2002, Ron and Kay buy a 6-acre plot of land in Luther, 10 miles away from Wellston.
It's on the inside of this. Oh, how would you get that clean?
My mom and dad were happy to start their own family legacy for the kids to be able to say, this is Grandma and Grandpa's place. And this is the first piece of land that my parents bought together. My mom was very happy. My dad was even more happy that they had their own place finally.
Ron also has a quirk that the whole family knows about.
He had a money bag. He used to carry it around with him quite a bit. All of their money that they made together, it would go inside of the money bag. He didn't trust putting it in the bank.
Ronnie, he always had this thing about having the cash on hand. And he would hide it in various places. That was just who Ronnie was. Like years of Ronnie hiding their finances in the house. And I think it was just common knowledge.
By 2003, Ron's failing health limits his capacity for physical labor. He's forced to quit his job driving trucks.
He ended up going and having to be put on disability. And he started declining on his health. We always thought that we would end up losing him from his health problems.
Start over here in the corner.
No, Ronnie, I don't want to.
And he increasingly relies on Kay for home maintenance tasks like weatherproofing the roof.
Hey,
Do I need it like this?
No, that's not the right one.
Well, that's the only one that's out there.
No, that ain't it.
Most of the time when they would do a home repair, it would always end up with Dad griping at Mom and Mom griping at Dad, telling him to explain it better. It would always end up in some kind of an argument. But it would always end with Mom doing the repair.
Kay also takes on a second job at a tile store to bring in much needed cash.
Mom ended up having to pick up more slack because of his health, but she always done it, no problems.
In 2006, Kay is at work at the tile store when in walks her 28-year-old second cousin, Michael Vance. He's made a permanent move to Oklahoma. He now works as a handyman to pay the bills.
I don't know if it was a fluke that he ended up going up there to get tile work he worked. Michael was the son of mine and Kay's cousin, Teresa. But there was really not a relationship there. There was no familial relationship at all. When Michael first moved out here, it was very prominent of just keep the kids away. He had been arrested for an assault.
He had quite a lengthy criminal background in California, which was the reason why he had came to Oklahoma. They said that he wanted to make changes in his life.
Kay extends the hand of kindness towards Michael in spite of her cousin's checkered past.
She had a heart of gold. She would do anything to help anybody.
Kay's words, he ended up showing up before I left for lunch. I should have left 30 minutes earlier and I would have never seen him. And she went and got lunch and brought back. And Kay being Kay, everybody has to eat. Gotta make sure these people are fed. So she fed him lunch too. When Michael moved to Oklahoma, we were always told that he was bad news. It was just a bad feeling all the way around.
Kay and Ron Wilkson throw a 4th of July celebration at their home in Luther. They invite all the family that live locally. Kay's mom, Ella Mae, brings outcast cousin Michael Vance and his sister Mariah.
Kay was not a confrontational person. Just kind of a gasp, oh my God. She was like, we did 4th of July at our house this year. And Mom brought Tim and his sister out to our house, She wasn't the type to be mad over things, but it just didn't settle real well.
Kay is edgy about Michael because he recently served time for drug possession and check fraud while living in Oklahoma.
I don't even know for sure why he was in lockup at times, but it seemed like Michael wasn't around. There's so much problems. You just don't want it around your family,
And 2 years later, Michael's problems with the law multiply. In 2016, investigators in Lincoln County, Oklahoma, indict Michael Vance for the sexual assault of a 15-year-old girl.
He had just recently been bonded out and was supposed to be going to trial.
A court in Lincoln County schedules Vance's hearing for 4 months' time. That same summer, the Wilkson family receives devastating news.
2016 was a horrible year. That was when it really started going downhill for us.
Kay and Ron's eldest son, Donnie, recently divorced his third wife. She has custody of their 2 daughters. In June 2016, youngest daughter Audrey is in the care of 2 friends at a house with a pool.
She was left in the swimming pool, unsupervised, inside of a floaty, and the floaty ended up tipping upside down, and her sister, which is a year older than her, was the one that actually found her in the swimming pool dead. It was devastating for our family. She was the light of everybody's life. It put a hurt on the whole family when we lost her. Our brother Donald, having lost one daughter, wanted to fight for custody of his other daughter. So he went to our mom and asked if our parents can help. If somebody asked her for money, she would give it to them. So she found a loan company so that she can give our brother the money so he can get a lawyer. It was somewhere roughly around $1,000, $2,000 that she got the loan for. Our dad had money stashed back in case of an emergency. He hid his money bag every time. That was their safety net. And Mom borrowed a little bit more money out of the money bag and put a little bit of their money in with the money that she got from that loan company and gave that to our brother to fight for custody. Our brother, when it all came down to it, he wound up getting custody of our niece. So our brother seemed happier. Our mom and dad were very happy. So finally, everything was starting to finally come back together. But we didn't know something bad's gonna come of it. We did not know anything that was gonna happen.
On October 23rd, I was at home and my oldest daughter called me and was just completely freaked out because her kids were on the church bus and something was going on because the bus wasn't being allowed to come down the side road to bring the kids home. There were roadblocks and everything on the roads. And then the kids was checking things out on Facebook and everything. And my grandson was like, some guy named Michael Vance started shooting at the cops. And I was just like, oh my God. So I called my niece and told her they've got everything shut down over here.
She informed me, well, do you remember Michael Vance, our cousin? And I said, yes, I know him. And she said, well, there was a big shootout with the police in Wellston. So I turned the television on, and sure enough, it was all over the TV.
Well, right now, we can tell you that investigators have been processing this scene. Wellston police officers drove up this driveway all the way to the top of the hill to check on a shots fired call when all of a sudden everything was normal, and then all of a sudden shots rang out.
And here's another look at the suspect, Michael Vance. Police tell us he's been shot at least twice. If you see him, call police and don't approach him.
There was a big shootout, and he's gone.
On October the 23rd, 2016, we received a call from the Wellston Police Department regarding the shooting of two of their officers.
The officers from Wellston responded to a public disturbance call. When they arrived, Michael Vance began shooting at them.
They both had been shot. They had been able to return fire and hit the suspect.
It's the backup. I need it, man. Officer shot. We got shots fired. Turn your ambulance now.
But their vehicle, a pickup truck, had been stolen.
Minutes after the shootout, Vance broadcast live on Facebook.
It hurts. I tell you, it hurts. It sucks.
He's wounded and driving the stolen police truck.
This is more intense than what I thought it was going to be, to say the least.
We started looking at the Facebook videos, just trying to piece together things. Michael Vance was very hyped up. There was nothing gonna stop him.
This truck is about dead. I needed to get out of the road, which I hope it does, because I'm about to steal up to another car. Like right now. It's gonna be intense. Watch this, people.
30 minutes after the shootout, deputies from Oklahoma County receive a report of an armed carjacking at a trailer park outside
The suspect had driven into a neighboring mobile home park where he ditched the pickup and found the Lincoln Town Car, and as he was pulling away from the mobile home, he began firing shots and actually struck the lady on the porch of the mobile home. And from that point, he began driving west on Highway 66.
As police units scrambled to locate Vance, he broadcast live on Facebook for a second time. He's driving the stolen Lincoln.
What's up, y'all? Letting y'all know, look, this is real. See? That's a gun. That's the real deal. It ain't a joke. This ain't a prank. I'm going live. If you want to know what's up next, stay tuned to your local news.
You can see the wound in the video, the blood. He was talking about more violence to come.
Vance addresses his sister Mariah about the charges he faces for child sexual assault.
Sis, I love you, and thank you for believing me. Everything that was said, it was all a setup.
Law enforcement was not citing the Lincoln Town Car. Our initial thought was this vehicle would be on Highway 66, but in fact at that point in time, we didn't know that he had a target.
This is the interesting part. This is where it gets interesting.
Michael Vance is on an armed rampage around Wellston, Oklahoma. Members of the Wilkson family reach out to one another to check that they're safe.
Kay and Ronnie normally set out on their front porch, and there was, I don't know, just a feeling of, call Kay, just be aware. And I couldn't get her to answer the phone. I don't even know how many times I called her.
We were texting our mom and dad, if something's wrong and if you can't speak, at least just text something. Any kind of a letter, a period, anything. Just send us a text letting us know you're okay.
Cassie and Evelyn's brother Connor drives to his parents' house to check on them.
I contacted my brother. He told me that he was pulling into the driveway. And he said there's a white car with a blue top.
And I was just like, guys, that's the car Michael stole. That was the car he stole.
I felt like my heart had dropped. I mean, I knew that something was wrong.
My nephew backed up and left and alerted the police officers that they needed to come out there.
We sent a unit directly to that residence. That unit verified that the white town car was sitting in the driveway.
The Wilkson house is silent. The police need to know if they're facing a hostage situation.
We had the Oklahoma City Police helicopter that began flying over the house to see what they could see. It was dark at this time, and so they were using spotlight and FLIR.
By that time, me and my husband had gotten in my vehicle and we started over there. We was in a roadblock with law enforcement. We're trying to find out what's going on with our parents. The police would not let us through.
At that time, we began meeting with the tactical team. I authorized the use of the robot to initially go onto the property. There was no movement around the residence. Kay's silver Mitsubishi was missing. It was not where the son said they usually parked. The robot came up to the body of a man outside of the house. So at that point in time, we authorized dynamic entry by the tactical team.
The officers confirm that the deceased man is Ron Wilkson.
He had defensive wounds on his arms. He suffered not only stab wounds, but also was shot with a single shot. tactical team checked and secured the outside of the property. They then entered the inside of the residence. Inside, they found Kay's body. She was stabbed multiple times.
Investigators find a bloodied knife in the sink and shell casings ejected from an AK-47 on the floor. Nearby, they find a cash lockbox forced open.
There was a pink t-shirt that was recovered off of the floor of the house. In the Facebook videos, Michael Vance was wearing a blood-stained pink shirt.
This ain't a joke, this ain't a prank. I'm going live.
It tied him directly to this crime scene and to these two murders.
We was standing next to law enforcement officers when family members contacted us to let us know that our parents had been murdered.
I asked him, I said, what do you mean? And he said, Mom and Dad's not with us anymore. He said, they're gone. He killed both Mom and Dad.
I heard my sister let out a blood-curdling scream that I had never heard before.
She took off down the middle of the road. I just remember her screaming and running.
We had an individual who had no concern for human life.
This is more intense than what our first was going to be, to say the least.
He was armed with a AK-47. We have absolutely no idea where this man is or where he's going. He has nothing to lose. The longer he was out there, the more people had the opportunity to die if we didn't locate him.
This is the interesting part. This is where it gets interesting.
Michael Vance has gone on a rampage. He is wanted for shooting 2 police officers and for the killing of Kay and Ron Wilkson.
At this point in time, we have 2 people dead, 4 people shot. We have 3 vehicles that have been stolen, and we still don't have him in custody. And he's out of sight again. He's gone. We inform the public. We have pictures of Michael Vance. This is being broadcast not only on the local TV stations, but also on national news.
5 days pass and Michael Vance remains at large.
Having Mom and Dad's funeral while he was still on the run, it was scary. We was getting reports that he could be trying to snipe somebody.
There were so many people that was scared to come to the service.
It was so many different stories coming from every different direction, and we didn't know what to believe anymore. We didn't know, is he still in town? Is he on the run? Is he hiding? Is this over?
Sunday night in western Oklahoma. Clay Sander, the sheriff there, is out on patrol. He sees a truck that's dragging a chain, creating sparks. So Clay Sander turned his lights on to make a traffic stop. And Michael Vance is sitting in the driver's seat. And opens fire on Sheriff Sander. And then takes off.
Sheriff Sander is wounded, but calls in the Vance sighting. The Oklahoma City Helicopter Unit and Highway Patrol immediately begin their pursuit of Michael Vance.
The Highway Patrol are able to catch up with him a couple miles up the road. He begins firing with his AK-47 through his back window at the troopers that are in pursuit of him. The first trooper is able to get his rifle and begins firing at the truck. front of the truck, using the truck as a shield. The trooper was able to get out of his vehicle and move to the side, which gave him an angle to fire back. And he was able to hit Vance and end the threat. I think that was his plan the entire time. He was not willing to go to prison. He was not going to go to trial. I think he was going to be on this violent path until it ended in his death.
The two police officers, the woman at the trailer park, and Sheriff Sander all survived the gunshot wounds they sustained during Vance's rampage. Investigators pieced together the events that triggered Michael Vance's killing spree. Police officers respond to reports of automatic gunfire at a property in Wellston. Vance is currently awaiting trial for child sexual assault. He reacts badly to the officer's arrival. He shoots both officers and steals their patrol pickup. Investigators believe that Vance now wants to kill the people he thinks will testify at his trial.
Everything that was said, it was all a setup.
We were told that he had a list that included Ron and Kay, and may have included other family members that would be witnesses against him in the sexual assault trial that was to occur.
See, that's a gun. That's the real deal. It ain't a joke. This ain't a prank.
His mission was to kill them, to keep them from testifying against him in court.
But Ron and Kay's family reject this theory.
We got told that our mom and dad were on a list of people that are going to testify against him, which we did not believe because that's just not our parents. They had nothing to do with any of that stuff.
The family thinks that Michael Vance drove to Ron and Kay's residence to rob them of their money. That he knew that Ron hid cash in the Wilkson home in Luther. And that Kay recently secured a loan for several $1,000s.
He went to go get what money he thought they had. There wasn't any money there because my parents was helping my brother fight for custody. And I believe that when they told him there was no money, he just went on a rampage.
It's hard to explain why people do things that they do. And I'm a firm believer that some people are just evil. And Michael Vance was just evil.
They was amazing people. I'm very thankful that my kids had time with them and they got to know them. I feel sorry for the grandkids that won't ever get that opportunity.
There's so many memories and so many things that remind me of Kay and Ronnie. I love them and I miss them.
It was a very bad time, but we're doing okay, and we've all made it through, and we've moved on. That's what I would say to my parents if I could tell them anything right now. We love you and miss you dearly, but we've made it through this.